So someone PM'd me and asked me if I could kind of go through my base and kind of show how I built it. I feel like the videos have kind of been out there long enough that people can see, but I think some people were just kind of curious about why I did some of the things I did. So let me hide preview P and kind of go through everything. These exist after the gen mat is captured, so these are exit kind of things I have as fail safes, but the biggest thing was the grabbers that pull directly in, and I pretty much went through each of these and tried to figure out how I would react, and if I got the alert, I back up, which is most people, but that actually is detrimental to you in a lot of ways. The way to beat this is to stand right under it. Go up, identify where the target is that hurts you. In this case, this comes after, like these traps, so this is one last chance to grab them. But here, same thing. These darts, after putting homing in, when they engage, they fire and follow, and they will pierce these. I've kind of read some places that that wasn't intentional, but I'm kind of just working with the tools I saw work. So if they take that out, I'll have to kind of come up with something a little different. But for now, that's kind of why that works. Same thing with these. People back up. They get very confused. This kind of throws things when they jump and they're falling down. They're trying to avoid that. And a lot of times they'll like skim this and kind of die. Same thing with this, just kind of a follow-up. It's always surprising to me after this first one that anyone falls for the second, but maybe you think you're done or you're focused here. This kind of throws people off. Just little things to kind of overload is what I found to be most successful. This one has a spike. This one has a spike with an exploding thing, because I found that most of the time people come here. If they blew this up, again, I try not to repeat traps, even though this is kind of contradictory to what I'm saying, because people learn from it. So this one will blow someone up, and then they'll shoot this the weight, and then it's kind of wasted resources. And if you can see now at the top, I'm at 6,025 from Prestige 8 now. I originally put because I thought people seeing the bolts, they might react, be able to stop. They can't with this. This was put in because people were kind of cruising across, and I thought about making the solid, but a little bit later in my base, there's something where I use that for, and I didn't want anyone coming through to know I had the solid flame block, even though I might have put it here. No, I didn't. Here is another example. This is room 2, where a lot of things are going on. Obviously, these things that you see come after. You can kind of see those double things. These are all the, here right now. So anything with that star thing is coming after they get the gen mat. So first thing people do is, this comes after the gen mat, is normally trigger one of these, which pushes them. And I'm kind of corralling them into locations. They've been here. They sometimes come here. This is safe. But then they'll kind of explore this way, looking this. And that's normally what triggers this. They want to get their bolt back after they fire at this, which triggers this, which pushes them towards this, which drops this down, which pushes them further in. And the idea is that they're just kind of getting overwhelmed. This is another after. This I recently filled with lava. If you've seen some of the other videos, there were guys that like fell in, and I was like, oh man, that could have gotten them. In this case, I have more bombs. They're just good. It depends on the mods you put on them, but them bouncing chaotically every time, you could stand here one time and be fine, and 2 other times not. It kills you. So it scrambles you. So if you throw one of these in with other traps, it's like chaos, and human beings just can't really process it all. I changed these from cement to lava because I found people were kind of using them a lot, and I don't want them to have extra space. I want them tight and nervous and jumping, maybe into the, lava as they're trying to, figure out what's going on. Here, I've seen this beaten one time without the shield. The shield is how I would take this base. Right here is just to stand still, pop it, break all 3, honestly. But I have seen it, I want to call it a harpoon, grappled through here, and as they're going through here, they immediately hit here. These things are already engaging. Both of these are more homing. This one takes this one, because I found that in most cases, people round this corner, they'll kind of do this, and this is nothing. This is an after gen mat, as you can see. So then they kind of peek this, they go, oh god, hit it, because it's reflexive. They've already taken this, they know this is safe, so they normally stand here, and then the bolts come right through and kill them. That gets me, as you can see, a decent amount of kills. These are all guys here that were kind of hit by that. This comes after, as I'm thinking people come through. Same thing. Didn't expect that. See that last time they back up reflexively. If they've learned from these, I've seen people go, all the way back, which is kind of why I opened this up. Coming up here, this is just something I added because it was kind of a human experiment. Most people that break it kind of are confused, you can see for a little bit, and I kind of like seeing their reactions to that. This I put, this actually connects, and actually as I'm looking at this, I'm going to change this to not this, whoops, because I like the idea they can get out once they kind of discover it. I think that's cool, although I guess that puts them ahead of some of the traps I put out, so I wonder. I don't know. All of this going on is useful. For one, the rust looks kind of sometimes draw the eye like the traps, but it's a sound. It's loud, and if you put it on a lot of stuff, it can kind of be disorienting. People are trying to focus, and this is kind of distracting. This, for whatever reason, seems like such an obvious trap. This would be something I'd be like, oh, this is something. And as soon as I saw that, I know. This triggers a lot, and I don't know why exactly, other than to maybe they see this and are like, this is a problem. You see the ramp, what's going on with this? And you just kind of forget. I don't know if this has gotten many kills. Oh, I guess it did. Someone probably bounced down there and got that. It's another room to kind of put people, I know this sounds weird, at ease. Like if they're seeing this, they're like, all right, not every angle is covered with something, so moving on. Same with these. I put little false kill kind of holes in here. Keep people checking, worried. What am I looking at? This is weird. And then they're starting to hear the wheeze of this guy. This guy has armor, and this was actually an idea I saw somewhere else. Someone had put this on kind of a slant that drops down, and I shot his leg, and down he went. So I have this little armor thing. If people investigate, there's a couple of these with exploding traps that my thought is they jump on here. People just get curious to see if there's other stuff. This also explodes, so maybe it'll create some chaos, and in the interim, this will pop, and it does often. In fact, I don't know if I have, I do. I have chaos bombs, so they bounce everywhere, and a lot of times they roll down there as like a second kind of duo killer. This really is it works well. This throws you off. You can't really backpedal fast, and with this kind of, as you're jumping, you're hitting it, and they're not really, as you can see, making a lot of progress. So moving into here, just got a basic pit. This is to kind of corral. This is to push the bombs in. They're normally looking here when they see this. Sometimes this gets shot, actually. And judging from the amount of deaths in here, you can see this is probably my least favorite room. In my videos, I harp on these not working. And early on when I made this base, like days, I think, after this game came out, these were hitting like you wouldn't believe, but people have gotten smarter, so this is kind of a trap I feel like that has aged out now that people kind of know what's going on. Up here, this is just kind of a good walk around. I didn't intend it, but I did see a couple bases that had lights, and I was like, man, this is a lot. In fact, I think one of them was like a pyramid video that I have, and they turn red, and they're really distracting. But I also thought it was kind of a cool, like a red alert effect, you know, as they're coming through. This I have, and I will kind of explain, comes after the gen mat. So you go in here, these are all solid. Someone explained that the flames aren't supposed to penetrate this either, and that, so basically if you put these on second wave mode, they don't really register as full blocks, I think, and that's kind of what people have been, I'm guessing that's kind of what they've been alluding to. So if you put them in second wave mode, your trap's already behind it and established, but this doesn't quite recognize as like a solid block. It's just an added block, and I think that's what allows this to kind of go through. You'll notice, however, that at the beginning of my base, I have just opaque ones that aren't in second, what do you call that? Second wave, and they still penetrate. So I don't know if that part is intentional, and because of that, I kind of kept the bolts going. So basically what I have in here is a bolt here with two, yeah, and I actually would like to put more range on it, but I can't. Oh, 2 mods are max. I feel like I don't need to, yeah, well, we'll keep the homing on. Homing just because you never know if people round corners. I like it, but the arrows themselves I think only get to about here without that mod. So down here, all of this is on second. I have bolt, oh, I used to have a bolt in here. I think I felt like it was a little too cheap. I have this one just to keep people from staying in here too long. I have another one that's angled here, so I can kind of hit this direction twice, and the hope is that when this drops down, it kind of pauses them a little bit and allows that to kind of penetrate, and I'll get some kills. I've gotten a couple kills here. This part, weirdly enough, blows people up. Normally the less skillful of the two duos, this kind of gets a free kill on them, so I've left it even though it's kind of obvious. This is, I think, something I mentioned in another video called Hope. it's kind of just a joke thing. But the solid blocks kind of appear like they might be able to go through, and with some speed mods and your shields, you can get through. So people will kind of start angling, and I'll see right away if they block these and they start looking and positioning. I'm like, oh, they're gonna go for it. And they used to. It seems like people have kind of gotten wise to it. There'd be like a couple in here and maybe one here from like someone. I tried to leave angles that maybe someone would take. Like, that's kind of hard to see, but that's one. Maybe I'll put one over there. And they'll grapple, they'll hit, and then as you can see, that is solid. You can't go through it. You are stuck in here. And so this is really good. It also kind of makes them look for it later on outside. And sometimes that dragging down of time works wonders. So you make it through here. This normally pops as a result of this. These arrows go through, they hit it somehow, or this blows up. I can't remember what, but something triggers this. It's probably the explosion. They tend to see this, and at first I was like, shoot, this isn't hidden well enough, and it isn't. But I put this in because often people are messing with this or fighting this or hitting this, that those darts come and boom, and it's kind of going back to what we talked about with the overwhelming the senses. It's just a lot to process. There's three traps here you're trying to do. Duos can get through it, but looks like that killed a lot of people too. That's kind of the point of this whole part. So as we're cruising back through, I might want to put something here too. I feel like on a way back, this is a really nice choke. I think we should use it, and maybe I will if I get some more capacity. I'm on Prestige 8 now, so at 10 maybe I'll have some cool stuff. I'm excited to open this up as like a social. And I think what I'm going to do is maybe run this again just to kind of show how to beat it. I've done it once before, but it might be fun to see how many times I die too. So these are all broken, except, I'm sorry, this one is a second effect. So this is as we were talking about. They make their way down here. This is kind of why I was like, maybe I shouldn't block, let that go through if they bypass it. But you know what? If you want to risk it, I think you deserve it. So I'm going to leave that open. This one is the same thing. Actually, it might be from that one and not this. But people round the corner here. Boom. Uh-oh, shoot. And then right about here, they get whacked. You'll get some clears. This is another bomb setup. Again, adding that chaos, pushing people forward, pushing people back, and hopefully into here. I've seen 2 people drop in here, and I didn't have lava out, and I was upset about that. This is another thing that comes after the effect. So basically these bombs push you in. This ignites. It's Dragon Breath. Pushes pretty far in. This might get you over here to dodge it. You'll get... This kind of counters at it now that I'm thinking about it. The arrows in here are homing. And the hope is that, this gets you before that. But if you're getting the alerts, you're just backing up. So I probably need to remove that. But this explodes. This follows twice. These are from before, these are after. So here's more bombs, again, to push more people inward. Going around is not what you want to do. It's actually kind of rewards you to do it the risky way. So I've only seen a couple people do it this way, but the problem is as you're slowing in, my secondary effect thing is coming in and you get hit, you start to go, oh God, you run, and then you get pulled right up in there and it's game over. This is a homing one that hopefully, I think I've only seen it work once. This stops people briefly, because when people used to see this not there, and that's kind of a hard shot to make when it's down, they just grapple, cross, and then they're out, grapple again, and that doesn't have time to engage. So that's pretty much it. I've tweaked different mods here and there. That pit gets a lot of kills, and it always kind of is funny to me, because it's just, you walk in, it's just a pit and a lava, and it gets people, but that's pretty much it. I think I covered most of it. I tried to incorporate some false walls with these, on the side, and that's worked out pretty good. That's kind of why I made this little danger zone here. But anyways, that's pretty much how I built it. Most things are 2 or 3 wide and range down. I don't know if I mentioned that with the grapples, is when you shoot these, you can get this one back. You got this here that sometimes people don't notice, but when you do this and you jump, this is the tricky part. You use your bolts, you come over here and you get them. This is extremely hard to make. You almost need a shield, and you need to grapple as far on that top part as you can. If you do this, you will drag down across the surface, and it'll kill you. And it's just for one bolt that you have to now reset. So it's kind of intended to get rid of some of your stuff, but I wanted you to be able to have one to kind of go in with towards the end, because I think that's more fun, and I don't like depriving people of all their stuff. So that's pretty much the explanation of those and why I did that. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to add them in. I'm always kind of looking at different things to make it better. But so far, that's it. Thanks for watching.